So we're back with more destructive text editing. And this time we're going to actually use the brush tools to create some kind of cutout or patterning. This probably works best with just using black and white. So feel free to stick with that. What I'm going to do is go to the random word generator, and maybe let's start with a B, letter B. Haha. And I'm going to copy this word, Control C, and I'm going to create a new document. So let's hide that. Let's go to new, and I already know this word is going to be birthday. Might as well paste it in now. 8 by 12 is a good size in the photo tab, and I'm going to go ahead and create that. So it'll be a white background. So again, we are keeping the type tool at 600 pixels roughly. And when I click into the document, I can paste my word because I've already got it. Now, I didn't choose my font this time. Remember, with the text or type tool, you can select it and edit just like you would in a Google Doc. So I'm going to perhaps change my font to something like that more looks like some kind of celebration for birthday. Let's see what we got here. Griffey. All right, that might work. And I'm going to click on the move tool just because I want to center it and be able to work with the space around my word. So remember to zoom in too as you're working. I'm just going to hit Control plus, that zooms me in so I can see what I'm doing pretty well. And because this time around I'm not going to use the shape tools, I'm actually going to use the brush tool for this. I have to do something called rasterizing. So there are vector images and there are raster images. By default, I believe that these type tools are vectors. So if we want to be able to like subtract from them, we have to actually turn them into a raster. So we can do that by going to layer, and we're in the right layer. If we look over here, we're in the type layer. We're going to the layer menu and we're choosing to rasterize that. So now that makes that a pixelated image, and we're going to be able to use the brush tool. Now, before you go to layer and rasterize the image, you want to make sure that you're happy with the text and the font, because now that this is not a type layer anymore, you cannot use the type tool to select and edit that. So we are ready to use the brush tool now. However, I was already happy with my font and my word. I did not have to do any editing of that. So when you're using your brush tool, actually for this, we're actually taking the eraser tool. It's going to act like a brush. We are going to look at some of the options for the brush tool here. This is where we can play around with the different shapes of the brushes. And boy, it's a little bit more limited here than in Photoshop, but if I kind of want to sponge brush this, make that kind of a pattern, that might be one thing to do. Now this is a fairly small brush, so I'm going to crank it up to 100 pixels. And I might not do 100% opacity. I might start out at like 50 or 60. And then as I erase, I am removing here freehand some of that word. So, think about how you can express that word. In my case, the value change, maybe that's suggesting some energy with the lines that it's creating here. So that was maybe about 3 strokes. If I don't like how that worked, I can step backwards, maybe choose another brush. Maybe that brush was too big. Let's try like half the size, and maybe an interesting straight brush here. So this is subtracting some of that word. Maybe it's like the sprinkles on a birthday cake. So just for contrast, I'm going in there and I'm actually making some longer strokes, which is erasing even more and creating some contrast because it gets a little bit brighter here. And then when I'm happy with that, I'm going to crop in and get rid of any excess background that I don't need. So just make sure it's even. Click the Enter button, and then File, export it as a JPEG file. And I already titled it, so it can go right into my folder. So that is doing more of a subtractive method for destructive text editing, and it's using the eraser tool instead after we rasterize the type layer.